So I'm going to have to be honest. This might have been the best presidential debate performance of all time by JD Vance, and I don't say this off the sugar high of what I witnessed. I'm taking serious thought in saying these words because what I just witnessed were phenomenal answers by JD Vance 95% of the time. I didn't even know how to make this video because I could put the entirety of JD Vance speaking as the highlights. A legend was born tonight. I had high expectations for JD Vance because of all the interviews I've seen him give, but he far exceeded them. He mopped the floor with Tim Walz, or should I even say an outright demolition. If you're looking at the predictions over the past couple of days, most people predicted Tim Walz was going to win the debate by a substantial margin, and I actually disagreed with them. And let's just say a few minutes into the debate, it was far in JD Vance's favor, like holy crap. But the face expressions of JD Vance and Tim Walz outright sum up the debate. Tim Walz entered the debate shaky, nervous. At one point, Salad Walz Tim was trending on Twitter, and his face expressions made him look ugly, scared, not presidential.
Well, thank you, and thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners.
And because of how cordial this debate was, which was the most cordial debate I might have ever seen, really nice to see actually, I'll give Tim Walz the benefit of the doubt. He got better with his words as the debate went on and arguably would be a better candidate over Kamala, but really anyone would be. But he still didn't compare to JD's aroma or charisma because even CNET admitted Tim Walz was a disaster.
I think there was a clear lack of preparation and execution here on Walz's part.
I think actually it's the opposite. I think he had too much preparation.
Maybe, yeah.
He had so many lines that he was clearly trying to say.
Yes, terrible excuse, I know. Overprepared my rear end. But I'll get to the best part of the night and really the biggest JD mic drop moment. The moderators are not supposed to fact-check candidates. That's never been a thing. The American people and the other person in the debate are the ones who fact-check the candidates. The annoying ultra-feminist radical left debate moderator, the woman who should stay in the kitchen, not being sexist, that's what she's good for, she's the worst actually, tried to fact-check JD on illegal immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, and it got so embarrassing for them, they had to mute his microphone.
And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you,
Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important
we're
because
going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own
Thank you, Senator, for
leadership.
describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
What a bitch. I know they want to come across as strong women, but being a total jackass isn't going to help you. That's not moderating a debate. That's censoring speech. Thank you for describing the legal process. What do we got? Roz from Monsters, Inc.? And JD was right anyways. You can't make illegals legal without a green card or going through the right process, because that's illegal.
Honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here, because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens. I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principle.
What a perfect way to break down what Tim Walz has to do. That was amazing. Whack-a-mole. Pretending Trump policies are terrible while defending a terrible economic record of Kamala Harris. I wouldn't want to be in Tim Walz's position either. But see what I mean with JD? He's frankly on the debate level of Vivek Ramaswamy, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, you name it. and you could see Tim shaking in his boots. Tim lost the debate on his face alone. And remember when I mentioned this was one of the most cordial debates I've seen? JD used his kindness to his advantage by giving Tim his son's condolence for experiencing a shooting. It was powerful.
Well, I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you. As a member of Congress, I sat in my office surrounded by dozens of the Sandy Hook parents, and they were looking at my 7-year-old picture on the wall. Their 7-year-old were dead, and they were asking us to do something. And look, I'm a hunter. I own firearms. The vice president is. We understand that the Second Amendment is there, but our first responsibility is to our kids to figure this out.
Senator.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting, and I'm sorry about that, and I hope that he's doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful.
On to Tim Walz's biggest 2 L's of the night. The first one is when he said he became friends with school shooters.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA.
I think everyone had this face expression when he said that. That was a ridiculous statement. But the second and the most critical one was when Tim Walz admitted he lied about being in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square massacre. This was an event where a student-led pro-democracy protests were slaughtered by the Chinese Communist Party after they declared martial law deploying the military forces on them, resulting in deaths of possibly thousands of civilians. And obviously lying about being at something like this was just as bad as Tim lying about his military record, which sadly wasn't brought up this evening at all. I was really looking forward to hearing about it, but whatever.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protest went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor.
Actually, that might have been one of the most embarrassing debate moments of all time. You know, the awkward pauses, the nervous voice, knowing Tim was in a corner and lied. It doesn't get any worse than that. But anyways, guys, I'm going to leave this video at that. I'm going to make a separate video on abortion because I think that one's pretty important. So make sure you watch out for that.